Hi Piper, I'm Andrew. It's nice to virtually meet you, sort of. So here's my video response to your project questions. I'll start by introducing myself. My name is Andrew Goldberg. I have a doctorate in clinical psychology. I run my own private practice. In addition, I facilitate workshops and trainings in this music meditation that I'll talk about in a little bit. Outside of work, I play music. I've played in bands. I do my own solo stuff. I teach yoga, hang out with friends. I just try to enjoy life the best that I can. You ask here, how often do I listen to music? Judging the fact that my main hobby is music and I've turned my career into basically very music related, I'm one of those who listens to music every day. And if I'm not listening, I'm in some way engaging with music. Reason being, not very complicated. I do it because it feels good. That's it. It's a worthwhile endeavor in its own. My favorite type of music, though the types and genres have changed over the years, I think my home base is blues. I remember one of my best friends, David, came over with a Jimi Hendrix cassette tape, and when he pressed play and this sound just came through the stereo, like the hairs of my arms stood up. It was like this electricity flowed through my body. I was hooked. And so initially my favorite genre of music was this psychedelic blues rock of the 60s, like Jimi Hendrix, The Doors, Beatles, Janis Joplin, Jefferson Airplane, like those artists. However, it's not my favorite genre. My favorite genre was I learned about it through listening to them. As I got more into this psychedelic music, I discovered that they were very much influenced by this early 1900s post-slave era blues music, finger-picking blues. That sort of sounds like Mississippi John Hurt, Lead Belly, Elizabeth Cotton. So that's my favorite genre of music. Reason being, it feels good. As I did this music meditation stuff, I learned that it had more to do with like feeling understood and connected. I mean, the music, like I said, is this. It's a lot about suffering, like the trials and tribulations of what it's like to live in the United States in the early 1900s, post-slave era, like. And what does a white Jewish kid from the suburbs know anything about being black in the South during the early 1900s? Nothing. I have no idea. That type of suffering, no idea. But however, growing up, I had a lot of depression and substance abuse issues and like just didn't feel well in my own body, in my head. And listening to that, for some reason, made me feel connected and understood. It brought me a lot of joy to listen. And that's just been my favorite music through and through. I'll try to touch more about that when I get into the in-tune part. So is there a genre that I don't like? Not really. I've learned time and time again over the years that whenever I didn't like something, it wound up becoming like music I was obsessed about later on. For instance, I remember being in high school not liking Radiohead or Fish or most rap and hip-hop music, but then all of a sudden, like early teens, 20s, Radiohead became one of my favorite bands. I listen to so much hip-hop and Fish and stuff now that I've learned that most music I didn't like, I'd probably like at some point. So it's kept me open. And it's cool because it's enriched my musical experience because I'm always looking for something new. I'm open to hearing music I thought I would never listen to. Can I concentrate on other things while listening to music? Yes. It depends. If I need to concentrate, especially if I need to do something with creativity, I need like silence. I put in like earplugs. I need like silence. But if it's like lo-fi, something with like some soul that sounds like this, I could study this. And a lot of times I could probably do creative things. But anything beyond that, No, it's game over. I have ADHD. It's hard enough for me to concentrate in general. Add some sound into that, especially music that I like a lot or that's lyrically oriented or just abrasive. Like, it's game over. So I chose to create In Tune, and how I thought I was thinking about music meditation thing. And honestly, it really started that I was nervous going to grad school that I wouldn't play and listen to as much music because grad school takes up a lot of time. And so I was looking to incorporate music as much as I could. But the other real factors are I saw how much mental emotional health issues really impact people. People are suffering, especially with stress throughout the world. And mental and emotional health care is very inaccessible. It can be very expensive, confusing. And so I was just trying to think of ways of less expensive, more accessible ways to help people. And I know that music is something that most people have access to. And if you can just help them a little bit through what things that with the resources they already have, it's a winner. Also, because I went to this hippity dippity school that integrates Eastern tradition and spirituality with Western psychology and medicine and stuff like that to get a more diverse understanding of like the human experience to be more helpful. And a big part of my training was meditation and mindfulness practices. And I learned through research my own personal practice how beneficial it can be. However, again, meditation is very hard to get into. And I was trying to figure out ways to be helpful to people, easier ways. And what I learned, especially with mindfulness, is mindfulness and meditation and psychology, it's all about gaining an understanding of yourself in the here and now. You go to therapy because you want to know what is getting in the way. What triggers your negative and positive emotions? How do you deal with stress, disgust, anger, and all this stuff? How do you respond to it effectively so you can have a more free and joyous life? And the fact that my school had a lot of meditation, I was looking for, okay, are there music meditations out there that helps you get a better understanding of yourself? And what I learned was most music meditation out there is all about just this soft ambient nature sound to calm you down. But it's not getting at like the root of how your mind and emotions work. And so I started thinking about it, that why does the music that is very sad, my favorite music is this post-slave era finger-picking blues, why does that bring me joy? Why for my friend Aaron listens to heavy metal like Metallica and other like really intense like Slipknot, and it puts a smile on his face and he feels joy. Like that should stress him out, but it doesn't. And what I learned was that using the music that we really like says something about ourselves. And when we can bring our attention to the present moment, meditate with it, we get a better understanding of how our emotions and our thoughts work. And we have more control over how we interact with the world. And so I researched this. My research showed that people really enjoyed it. It's a good mindfulness intervention. And that's kind of how I came up with all this. So I hope that makes sense. I did it because I really wanted to play music as much in grad school. Mental and emotional health care is expensive and inaccessible. It can be very confusing. Mindfulness can help people deal with their mental and emotional health by bringing their attention to the present moment, because getting to know yourself and how you work and interact with the world is very helpful in navigating and reducing stress and having some joy in life. The music that you love, some of my favorite songs has memories. Those memories have emotions. The more I can get in touch with that, the better I have over the things that trigger my emotions and how I respond. So if you have any questions, concerns, let me know. Otherwise, thanks for asking me to do this.